So, lads, Flau'jae Johnson, one of the better players in college basketball, someone who actually was looking like she was going to be with a shout of, well, being a first team All American. It really did at one stage. Obviously, as the year went on, Anissa Morrow kind of cemented herself as the best player for LSU. But Flau'jae, obviously a champion in 2023. As a junior, made an Elite 8 last year. And she did still have a really good year. 18.9 points, 5.8 rebounds, 2.4 assists. And obviously, look, there ain't no rivalry. Well, not that there's a rivalry. There's no bad blood in any way between LSU's Flau'jae Johnson and Caitlin Clark. As you can see, LSU's Flau'jae Johnson admits this by Caitlin Clark amid desire to settle score. LSU's icon Flau'jae Johnson is eager to settle the score with Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. While LSU Tiger superstar had to sit out her team's SEC conference tournament due to shin inflammation, the junior is back to full health ahead of her team entering the 2025 NCAA tournament. Johnson brings a wealth of NCAA tournament experience to the tournament, given that the Tigers won the championship during her freshman year and lost in the Elite Eight next year. So, obviously, their season ended against Iowa, one being a win, the other being a loss. But it says here, the 2024 ended in agony of defeat, largely because of Caitlin Clark, who had 41 points. She not only had 41 points, she had 41, 12 assists, and like 9 rebounds or something. While Clark is now setting the WNBA on fire with the Fever, Flau'jae is still eager to get her revenge. Complex Bridget Tully asked Flau'jae, who's the toughest opponent you faced so far in your college career, and what did you take away from that matchup? Definitely got to be Caitlin Clark, but also Paige Becker, she responded. I didn't even play against Paige, but I've trained with her. I've seen her play, just like the pace, how she attacks game. I love that about both of them, their pace, you know what I'm saying? The two of them are definitely the hardest. I played Clark my freshman year, sophomore year. I'm a junior, so first year we got it. Second year she got me. So me and Caitlin, we won right now. I gotta wait until I get to the league to break that tie. So she then continued, Clark is definitely the hardest opponent she's ever had to play. She was just able to facilitate. She's like the best passer I think I've ever played against in my life. Flau'jae isn't alone and being excited to see these two superstars settling and score. I do think there is. Look, I think as of right now, unless there's this huge jump from Flau'jae, like I think Flau'jae is gonna come into the WNBA and do fine. Like I will say this, like I think that settling the score, you probably have to be the number one on your team to settle the score. Like if Flau'jae comes into the WNBA next year as like the 4th pick and let's just say she ends up as the 4th pick and she's drafted by the Mystics and comes off the bench for the Mystics. Something like that, and the Mystics go and beat Caitlin Clark. I'm not going to say that's a 1-to-1. And again, playoffs matter. College games do matter, in fairness, because you don't play against each other 4 times a year. Potentially 5 times a year if you're the Sky and the Fever next year. But it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens. What happens to Flau'jae Johnson, because I'm really interested in seeing how she gets on in her senior year. I think it's the 2026 WNBA draft is going to be an interesting one because there's a lot of players. There's a lot of interesting players. And you just never know who's going to step up their senior year. Obviously, as the guard position, Kiki Rice, Tania Latz, and Flau'jae are probably the 3 main ones. I don't know what... Like, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Reagan Beers as well, because her per-minute production is the best in college basketball, and then Lauren Betts is Lauren Betts. So it's going to be an interesting one. But it just goes to show, and you can see it with the young players in the league, there is absolutely, you know, all that, like... I'm not even going to say hatred. I'm going to say there is 100% some resentment or even either jealousy or resentment. I'm not sure what way, what's the best word to describe it. Because a lot of the pre-NIL, pre-superstar women's college basketball, and especially for some of the players, like, there were some players that were huge superstars in college, never really made as a superstar in the WNBA, but they couldn't take advantage of the fact that they could have made a whole bunch of money in college. And then by the time they get to the W, they kind of flame out and it doesn't last too long. So, like, that is very true for some of these players, some of these older players. But that's not the fault of the current crop of players. But you can see with the young players is like they're looking up to these players. Like there are very few players in college basketball that are like, especially guards, that aren't looking up to Caitlin Clark. Because, and you're going to see it more and more, how many like guards would have grown up watching Caitlin Clark, whether it be in the W, how many players in 10 years time were introduced that are going to be in college that were introduced to the sport of basketball through Caitlin Clark. You're going to be seeing that more and more as time goes on. Like there's going to be less and less of the, was it the McDonald's All-Americans where they called Caitlin Clark an inefficient shot chucker and they literally said she's an inefficient shot chucker. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then like all the kids obviously listening to their coaches being like, Caitlin Clark can't go to the basket. Juju's better at everything in basketball. And I'm like, one, Caitlin Clark is the best finishing guard in the WNBA, which was hilarious. But yeah, like that's gonna be happening less and less. Is as time goes on, you're gonna be seeing more and more like positive stuff around Caitlin Clark, because the WNBA players right now, like, I'm sorry, like very soon, the old WNBA media is gonna be gone. Like they are gonna be gone. The people that have access to the players that don't like basketball and just want to push narratives and just want to be friends with the players and like these people as celebrities and not basketball players, they're going to be gone very soon. And with the likes of Flau'jae, all of these players, whether or not they grew up idolizing Caitlin Clark, a lot of these were cooked by Caitlin Clark. Like they were absolutely cooked. And whether that be in a like mutual respect almost way, or lack of respect from Caitlin Clark to JC Sheldon, there has to be some respect there, because she cooked JC Sheldon every time they played, and you better believe that they don't particularly like each other. And she also put up her career high on JC Sheldon's head against the Wings. But it is going to be an interesting thing, and it'll be fun to see in the next couple of years how the narrative is, because the narrative's not going to change anytime soon. Like a lot of these companies are still employing the stands pretending to be the media, and unfortunately they are stands of people that aren't Caitlin Clark for Caitlin Clark's perspective. But at the end of the day, I think it's an issue. There is issues whether or not even employing Caitlin Clark stands doesn't help. That doesn't help anything. But there are plenty of non-biased people and neutral people that can be employed by these networks, and eventually it will happen. But yeah, it's good to see Flau'jae actually, talking basketball. But again, Flau'jae is someone that's not going to be resentful of somebody else's success, because Flau'jae Johnson is unbelievably successful herself. So obviously from her perspective, there is like not necessarily tunnel vision, but there is a ability to look past the nonsense being spouted in the media, because, well, she's successful herself, so what's the point of any resentment there? But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.